I made a video for this week that, unfortunately, you're never going to see. I even had it recorded and ready to go. I walked through all the reasons it made sense for Squadron 42 to launch in 2026, days after the upcoming Manchester event, and most importantly, before GTA 6. I'm not saying that they were just going to give us a future release date at the event. I think there was a pretty big chance that in the days following the event, the game would be going live immediately. Next week, the 42nd week of the year. It's very on brand for them, and if you had 13 years to plan it, that makes sense, especially since October's traditionally been Star Citizen's CitizenCon event showcase, the very event which they're skipping entirely this year in favor of this Squadron 42 one instead. I mean, they've been telling us for a while now, in all of their emails and even on the website, that Squadron 42 arrives in 2026. Then, Jeff Zanelli tweeted 14 characters, and now I don't think any of that is happening. PC Gamer posted an article asking what happens after GTA 6. Jeff quote tweeted it and said, Squadron 42. That's it, 2 words that change absolutely everything. That tweet was deleted not long after it was posted, and I'm assuming once somebody in PR got a hold of him. Jeff Zanelli is the composer of Squadron 42. You're listening to one of his tracks from the game now, by the way. You might have heard of him before. He's had a pretty incredible Hollywood career working with people like Hans Zimmer, and he was the primary composer on Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, among many other movies. So when somebody that connected to the project says something, I'll listen and reevaluate what I think. At first I was disappointed because of course I want the game now, I wanted it yesterday, and I even wanted it 6 years ago. But it makes sense because there's a problem. We're too close to GTA 6 now. GTA 6 comes out November 19th, assuming Rockstar still makes that happen. There are basically 2 places CIG can put Squadron 42 if they still intend to release in 2026. Immediately before GTA, which I'll choose to believe from Jeff isn't happening, or right after it. But right after seems completely insane to me. I know, I read it all the time in the comments from people that can't grasp why that matters. Go ahead and tell me it's a console-only launch. Comments help me, and I appreciate that even when it irritates the fuck out of me to read it. But that's never been the issue. There will be tons of people burned out from everything GTA leading up to, and for months after release, they'll be clamoring for something. Anything else. And they won't get it. GTA's launch will be the biggest media event in gaming history. YouTube is going to turn into GTA YouTube. I'm expecting that every article Google loves to serve me when I'm scrolling on my phone will be about GTA 2 because I'll click on one eventually, and that'll be enough for the engine to hit me full throttle. Even the people who don't make gaming content are going to be talking about GTA because it'll get views and engagement, and that's the motive that drives all of the internet. Squadron 42 could be a 10 out of 10 game, and the headline would still get shoved underneath somebody discovering that you can flush a toilet in Vice City. I guarantee you that video gets made and it gets 1 million views. Bet. If you like these kind of deep dives where I inevitably have to come back and admit that I was wrong later, subscribe and join the crew. You'll fit in here. And the thing is that as much as we like to rag on CIG, they're extremely competent in one thing: marketing. The joke is the marketing team dictates the patch cadence, not the developers. We've seen enough evidence of that I could initially dismiss the Astropub's big story that Squadron 42 was pushed to 2027 based on his insider information from developers he trusts. And no offense to him or them, but traditionally they'd be among the last people making that decision, and even more unfortunate, they probably don't have as much say in that as they'd want to either. I can confidently say that because games launch when there's pressure, not when they're ready. There's a saying in Hollywood that films don't get released, they escape, because if you could, you'd take time and make them even better. Just look at Cyberpunk 2077. Before it even launched, they told investors that pre-orders alone had already covered the entire cost of developing the game. You know, the marketing they'd spent on it that year. They had the money. The problem was everything else was already in motion. They sold the date, they had already delayed it 3 times, and they'd taken millions of pre-orders. The release date was a promise to shareholders the company had to keep at this point. That's the danger of publicly traded game companies. You can be crushing it and still have the pressure to do something that you know isn't in your long-term best interest. Developers knew the game needed more time, and it went out anyway. That's what I mean when I say games don't necessarily launch when they're ready. They launch when the pressure to release finally becomes greater than the pressure to keep working on them. But this is the one thing that CIG has consistently bucked that industry trend. They've never rushed Squadron 42. The PU is a completely different thing, but it's not what I'm talking about in this video. To be sure, we hate it. They've announced a Squadron 42 release date no less than 6 times now, by my count, and I'm not even really trying that hard to think about it. Would a 7th new release date matter? Sure. Some of you say you won't play it on principle because of that, and I'll just say this, you're full of shit. Or maybe your PC couldn't play it anyway. We want good games, and they're getting harder to find these days. Clair Obscura literally had a Game of the Year award taken away over its use of AI, and you know what happened? It just kept winning Game of the Year awards from everybody else, because none of that changed whether people thought the game was good. If it's good, that's all that matters and always has. Manufactured outrage be damned. And the thing is that in recent interviews, Chris Roberts has addressed that GTA-sized elephant in the room, so we know that they're all aware of what's at stake. Back in May, he was asked about the release, and he said the plan was still the end of the year, but there was a certain thing in the industry that everybody had to pay attention to, and because of that, he couldn't guarantee it. He didn't say GTA 6 because he didn't have to. We made a video earlier in the year about pressures that CIG had from internal stakeholders through put options. I did that before CIG released their 2024 financials and disclosed that the Codders have put even more money into CIG in 2025. That changes the rate for me. I don't think they're looking to get out anymore. Star Citizen is finally in the position where that investment comes good. And that has ramifications for the release of Squadron 42 as well. So maybe I owe the Astro Pub an apology. CIG operates differently enough that it's completely possible his sources know what's up. I've been talking a lot about accountability in my recent videos, so here's some more of it. I've been wrong before about a lot of things. In April, I made a video predicting that we could get a Squadron 42 release in May, or more likely August. It was based on a conversation that I had with a channel partner I was working with who floated it as a possibility. Later, I learned that that opinion was based on conversations they were having with other people like me, so that wasn't the best info. I ran with it and I got burned. I own that. I mean, when was the last time a YouTuber ever admitted they were wrong, right? Because this next part, I mean in a serious way. YouTube and every YouTuber that follows this game are completely irrelevant, including me. Yes, even the ones that have become the biggest known names in the space. We only have to look at the funding tracker to see the disconnect from what YouTube tells us is the pulse of the community and the invisible but significant funding that CIG brings in for Star Citizen. Just look at this chart. The bottom line on there is 2026 and each color represents a different month. Star Citizen has beaten last year every month except March, where it was practically the same. If I had listened to all those videos, including my own, that 4.8 was a complete disaster, I never would have expected this. It shocked the hell out of me, to be honest. PR disaster from last week, I expect exactly the same thing. Literally nothing will change. And I bring this up because CIG can and will do what's in their best interest for the launch of Squadron 42. That means another delay? We're gonna get that. It's not copium, it's irrelevantium. Outrage is content. It's amazing for views, it drives topics, engagement, everything that YouTube rewards, but it doesn't stop the machine. The Refundian subreddit has been more active in the last week than it's been in years, and that doesn't impact anything either. We're all just looking for something to do until the next big moment. So at this point, if Squadron 42 slips to 2027, I'm not personally upset about that. I'll get to make more content on it. In fact, my business model probably still does better when I can get more of these videos in. But more importantly, it means CIG is still choosing what works best for them. We've seen what happens when a company has to release no matter what, and it's always us that have to deal with the consequences as gamers. Cyberpunk might have recovered into one of the best games ever made, but CD Projekt Red spent years getting it into that state. Standalone multiplayer game that they were building disappeared, and man, I missed that. Phantom Liberty ended up being the only expansion, and I'm still sad just thinking about what this game might have looked like if they had the kind of patience that CIG does. Cyberpunk got that runway because they were an established studio, with their last game being a complete hit. CIG only gets one shot with Squadron 42, and I know the obituary was written years ago by the gaming press. They're hoping they can use it. Failure always sells better. Look, there's too much at stake to risk it, and for once, I'm not going to be pissed off if CIG misses another deadline or promise, because like every video that's ever been made about Star Citizen, it's really irrelevant. Funding marches on, and I'll be right here, ready to give you another 8-minute distraction from the real shit you're dealing with today. See you in the verse.